See, this is not pre-recorded. Everything you see here is pure. It's natural. It's today.
Familia, órale, bienvenidos and welcome to the Familia FFB podcast. Primo Nico in the house.
Woo! I
Oh man, we had a little technical difficulties. I'm really sorry we were off to a late start, but adios mio, we're trying to get this done before the Dodger game tonight because as you guys can hear, I'm a little scratchy because I was at the game last night, so paying a little price. But hey, you know what? Everything is good. Everything is good. They're ahead. We're going to be done. Primo Nico Las Vegas, also known as Nico Gutierrez. So just a little bit of information. Oh, first off, he's the first of the grandchildren to come off. So yeah, he's number one in the familia, and I'm number three in the alineación, the lineup, as you might say, on the roster of Familia Familia, and which is the foundation of Familia FFB. So Nico, I needed to give you an opportunity to squawk a little bit on being 5-0 in our Familia League.
That's right. I don't understand loss. I see no loss. I will not experience loss. And I think if I go perfect this season, I should be able to change all the rules in fantasy. But I did get an A+ rating on the Yahoo, the rating of what our draft picks. So I felt that everyone kind of said that was a bad draft, but obviously not. I'm 5-0. It's a nice place to be. If you get 7 wins, pretty much you're in the playoffs, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. I kind of feel like the Dodgers right now, kind of cruising along on the way to the championship, but don't want to jinx anything on that.
Yeah, don't jinx anything, baby. Don't jinx anything. So, also, before we get into anything else, I want to make sure you're giving us a like and subscribe on YouTube, Familia. Please make sure you're doing that. Also, when you go to fantasypoints.com, make sure you use the promo code 22familia10, or if you want to do it in Spanish, 22familia10. We're going to get you 10% off the already reduced 25% off the subscription rate. So you get some of the best of the best. You get John Hansen, Graham Barfield, Joe Dolan, Scott Barrett, Wes Huber, Tom Brawley, some of the great fantasy minds got their content, articles, exclusive live Familia. Got the best of the best out there. So make sure, put in the promo code 22familia10. I'll get you a little bit of a discount on that one. So as we mentioned, this is a Primo show. So Nico, you're in first place so far. What's been the best one that's helped you out?
Right now I got Mahomes. What can you say? And if he's only got 10 points in the first half, what's going to happen second half. So he proved that last Monday. And no, I think it's been a pretty solid team all the way around. Even my bench got points, which I wish I would have played them. But I got to say the 49ers defense, because no one thinks about a defense, but they just been killing it for me every week. And even though they're playing good teams, they're good for a 20-point pop. So that's been great for me, and then Cooper Kupp has been pretty solid. If he doesn't have anything, he'll get a 99-yard for you, touchdown. Why not, right? So, no, I have a good bench. My distribution for buys is pretty good, and so I feel pretty good about that. I only have 1 star this week. I don't have double stars this week. So, but this week should be pretty tough. I'm playing the mighty George Martin.
The Georgies, also known as old school, because you're the only you're one of the few ones that's older than me in the league. But yeah,
that's right.
That one, it's not going to be easy, Primo. It's not going to be easy for me. It's, gosh, you really knocked it out of the park on it. Well, I would say you knocked it out of the park, but it was really Primo Mikey who was drafting for you. So, with a couple of phone calls as you were up north, but I'm looking at your team. I've got to deal with. I don't really have. I have more injuries that I'm dealing with than and obviously lost Javonte Williams, which was devastating for my team. But if I could have Tom Brady get match up what Mahomes does this week, I'll take my chances.
Yeah, it was funny because I had picked up Tim Hill from New Orleans. And thinking about tight end, maybe he'll play some quarterback. Who knows what's going to happen? But I actually released him because I had to get a backup kicker. And of course, I ended up telling somebody in our league about that, and they picked him up on waivers, this week. So we'll see what happens. But he just killed it. I mean, 2 touchdowns and threw for a touchdown, and I'm like, wow. So that's unique, having a tight end that can play all these different places. I know ESPN had to label him as different, after people were complaining. But
well, he's only caught 2 passes. That's the thing. A tight end's supposed to be doing it, but no, I don't know what they're supposed to name him. I'm glad they're calling him a tight end because he did help me in one of my leagues, though I sat him on 2 other leagues. So that was just painful to see that, because the ones where I sat him, he really could have helped me out. But
yeah, I mean, he does everything. I think he's cooking Thanksgiving for the team too. But
I think so. And cooking him Thanksgiving, he's making
everyone,
making the ice cream, the nieve. You think he's gonna make some tamales while he's at it?
Maybe, then Nola's got a little bit of everything over there, So.
Oh yeah, can you imagine some Cajun tamales?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
let's do that. Jambalaya.
Oh yeah. Well, we always get our Tio Poncho always makes sure we get some nice jambalaya on out there. All right. Oh wait, hey, we got a first commenter, Alberto. ¿Cómo estás? How you doing? Meet Primo Nico in the house. So it's one of our loyal followers. So that's been a good time. Hopefully we're gonna get you out of here in time to check out the Dodger game. But yeah, Primo Nico, you're.
What time the Giants play? Oh, that's right. Oh.
April.
For those of you who don't know, I'm in the Bay Area, so my Giants didn't do too well, but. I always get accused of being a Dodger fan up here and a Giants fan down south. But I'll play the villain every time. So
yeah, you could do it either way. You could split allegiance either way. Yeah, when you're up there, yeah, you're doing it conveniently. But I did tell someone recently that welcome to the Major League Baseball postseason, or as Giant fans like to call Passover. Yeah. So that one.
The division of Northern and Southern California, like if they said if you put a state line, like where does it really happen? And pretty much everyone says, Bakersfield stays south and everything up there, the rest is all north. Some other people say it's, Paso Robles right down the middle. That's the dividing line. But
oh yeah,
I don't know what you call Northern and Southern California, but yeah, I'm both. I'm a little bit country. I'm a little bit Western.
A little bit rock and roll.
Exactly.
Hey, Albert, and anybody else who's going to be tuning in, make sure your chat. If you got any questions, throw them in the chat, and we'll answer them as we're going along. So so it's Big Showdown week. I think we got to put a beer bet down on this one. So since you're in Sonoma, I think I got to get a nice bottle of wine from you.
There you go.
When I beat you this week, so we'll get that one. So I wanted to get it. Let's get into some Chisme, Primo. Chisme. All right. So we got Skylar Thompson. He's going to be starting third-string quarterback, rookie third-string quarterback, starting for the Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa still not better. Teddy Bridgewater still not out of the concussion protocol. So they're going to play the rookie against the Vikings. It's a home game, so maybe that helps them a little bit. But Primo, this has got me concerned for everybody who's got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I mean, those having a rookie third string quarterback starting, that's no es bueno. I don't like it.
And Napoleon Dynamite's uncle, I think he's ready to go. He's ready to play. He's going to put him in, coach. So, but I heard when they were during the game that since they were the third string quarterback, like their backup was, I think, Devontae Parker or one of the players there, or who? No, he's over in New England. One of the wide receivers was their backup quarterback, their fourth string, and he was out. So they were going to have to run the Wildcat the whole rest of the game if the quarterback got hurt.
It might have been Tyreek. I think it might be Tyreek Hill.
But I forgot they mentioned who it was, but he was out. He didn't travel with the team. So I'm like, that's crazy just to imagine that, But you did have a wide receiver kicking field goals. I mean, I've never seen stuff like that, In the years that were supposed to be precaution and people not getting hurt, it seems like everyone's getting hurt. So I just think everyone's getting too big and too fast. That's what happens.
People are getting hurt, but you know what? I think they're also being better about reporting their injuries. I think that's a big thing. And so, guys before were more apt to play through injuries, and maybe that would make things worse, and maybe even make them potentially threaten their careers. Now all of a sudden they're coming in and they're wanting to make sure to get things treated and taken care of. So I really hope that's the case, because man, it's tough on the short run, but if we can get, some guys have their careers lengthened, all the better. I mean, you and I grew up. I mean, gosh, how many guys had their careers shortened because of injuries? I mean, I always look at, one of my favorite probably my favorite running back of all time, Earl Campbell, who had 3 just spectacular seasons at the beginning of his career. And then, but he took so many hits that his numbers just dwindled. I mean, he was over the hill at like the age of like 25, 26. So
yeah, I mean, North Dallas 40, the movie, that those days are gone. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Adios. So maybe it's for the better, but yeah, it is tougher to get that. And speaking of injuries, I mean, we got to keep an eye on the injuries. I make sure, Familia, you guys know, I always get my injury information first and foremost from Dr. Edwin Porras. If you guys haven't already, make sure you get his Injury Insights newsletter at fantasypoints.com, and you'll be able to get the latest and greatest information. But yeah, Baker Mayfield not practicing. It's looking like he's got a high ankle sprain and he's not going to play. And I mean, it's just they're down there. That's another team down to its 3rd string quarterback, because Sam Darnold's still not back and ready. So they're going back to PJ Walker. And it's to me, the big question about this is going to be the 2nd straight injury plagued season for Baker Mayfield. And all of a sudden with all the musical chairs of starting quarterback jobs likely to be filled by 32 other guys, does he have a job next year in the NFL if he's not a starter? I mean, Primo, isn't that? It's kind of crazy to think that this is a guy who was the number 1 pick just a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be a backup at least somewhere. But Jimmy G was a backup. Look at him. Go Niners.
That's the thing. You never know.
Them like maybe number 2 to go. I mean, they're ahead of KC, and I was like, really? So, well, one of the commentators on ESPN, they all got their own opinion, but I like our Niners' chances. I think Jimmy G being there is better just because of the experience. I mean, it would have been better to have Trey there for the long haul, but get one more year out of the Italian stallion, get it out there.
Okay, so we got a question in the chat. So would you start Devonta Smith home against Dallas over Jalen Waddle this week? Alberto, I would.
Yeah, I would. Waddle in between. Waddle's not going to get too much in. There's going to be a lot of running, short passes. I don't know. I think Devonta Smith will get regular.
I mean, I think it's the big question mark of going against the getting the rookie quarterback, 3rd stringer, or do you want Jalen Hurts throwing you the passes? And I know Trayvon Diggs is out there, but I mean, honestly, he can't cover both AJ Brown and Trayvon and Devonta Smith, so he's going to be open sometimes. And they've been throwing it to him. Devonta, he got 10 targets last week. Jalen Hurts is looking for him. So I would start if it's down to those 2. I'm starting Devonta Smith. And La Dama, Dame Overboard, you never have to apologize. You're always the queen. And hey, we're still kind of up there in Scott Fishbowl, right? I'm still number 15, so it's pretty amazing. LA Live draft, lady. So yes, hello Dame, La Dama. So next one, Nico, this is up in your neck of the woods. Ty Davis Price is he went back to practice. Edwin Porras, as we mentioned, he actually posted a video taken by somebody else. I think it was by one of the reporters, of Ty Davis Price running some routes, doing some agility work. He looked really good when he was out there. And Edwin even said, sell off Jeff Wilson Jr. because this guy's coming. So this is about to get become a very muddy backfield, Primo.
They've always done by committee. So I don't know. I mean, Wilson, I think he's averaging like almost 5 yards per carry, something crazy, So why would you get rid of that? Plus, he's good for the pass. Mitchell, who I still have on my bench, I think he comes back week 10, 11 maybe. I mean, I have him for playoffs,
somewhere
so
thereabouts. Yeah,
um,
that's about a month from now. That's about a month from now. So
yeah, I'll be. That means I'll be 10-0. Going into the playoffs. So yeah.
you'll be 9-1 after I beat you this week.
Oh yeah.
So
If the trophy, if I go undefeated, I'm going to put a little frame around my nameplate. Just kind of there next to the one that I won, where it was a little COVID. Little asterisk there. So mine will be decorated.
I'm still annoyed by that one. I'm still annoyed. I'm at my 1-4 comeback starts now. So against you this week, because you have 1 day. You have 1 day. It starts tomorrow on Thursday.
That's right.
So Davante Adams charged with misdemeanor assault for shoving a cameraman, and during the Monday night at the end of the Monday Night Football game. He's already apologized. Even told the photographer, I hope you see this. So I'm sure the photographer saw it, because he's already he's already filed charges against Davante Adams. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's already talk of some sort of settlement at some point. But there is still the possibility out there of a suspension. So think about that when you're trying to trade for Davante Adams. And so he's got a bye week this week. Somebody asked me on the Fantasy Points Discord earlier today how many games I would think. I would say one. I just can't see more than one happening. But hopefully it's not too bad, because he's such a great player.
Yeah, and I saw it, and the guy did go right in front of him. I mean, you got to be careful to go in. You okay, George?
Oh, Nico, I think we got a little. We're starting to get some feedback on your side. Let me try.
Is that better?
Hey, Nico, why don't you exit the studio and then come back in? Okay, because we're getting. Let's try. Yeah, bring you back in. Sorry about that, Familia. Get a little. Oh yes, Mr. Scampers. Hello, beautiful Familia. Thank you for joining us. Coolest cat as always. Thank you for joining us. Yes, thank you guys. Sorry for a little bit of technical difficulties there. So we're gonna jump into the last bit of Chisme, our news. We got Daryl Williams. He's already been declared out. Now, the one thing about that one is that while he is out, James Conner has not been ruled out. So if you picked up Benjamin, like Damon Mr. Scampers, as I did in Scott Fishbowl, spent $81 on it, 81 very, very hard-earned dollars. If you spend up on Benjamin, there's no guarantee that he's going to be starting right away. So just keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the practice reports before you start him this week. So before we get into the Adentro Afuera, I gotta call out what's looking like the game of the year. We've got the 4-1 Bills at the 4-1 Chiefs. It's this is going to be. I mean, gosh, this is going to be a slugfest. It's got an over under 54, one of the highest that we've seen. The Bills are 2.5 point road favorites. Familia, road favorites. You know how much I love to go against the road favorites and bet against them. It's in the afternoon window on Sunday afternoon. It's going to be one of the premier games. Everybody's got those memories of that big game, that big playoff game. I'm going to see if we can get Primo Nico back in here. All right.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, Nico, that was, yeah. I don't know what's going on. I can't, and I can't pause the live stream. So I'm gonna send you a message. I'm gonna send you a message separately. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, so we've got the game of the year. Let me try one more time. Let me see if it.
Does that work?
Ooh, Nico, I'm gonna have to. Everybody, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna mute myself for a second. So, Familia, we had that 42-36 Chiefs thriller last year, and it just, I mean, one of the, you know what, before that game, I always said that the Chargers and the Miami Dolphins in, I believe it was 1981, 82, that playoff game was the greatest game I'd ever seen. That was a 41-38 game that went back and forth. That was still one of the greatest games. In fact, when I went in Canton, Ohio, they showed a picture of Kellen Winslow being draped over his teammates, and just literally one of the greatest games I'd ever seen. And well, what ended up happening was this game with the Chiefs and the Bills, they actually surpassed it. They made it one of it became the greatest game I'd ever seen, Familia. Quite honestly, it was just absolutely fantastic. And, I mean, everything was there. You had Josh Allen throwing for 379 yards and 4 touchdowns. You had Patrick Mahomes throwing for 329 and 3 touchdowns, including the game winner. And I mean, just everything was there. Gabe Davis had the coming out party with 4 TDs. I mean, and the game was so good that they made the rule that both teams now have to touch the ball in overtime, even if the first team scores a touchdown. So the second team kind of has a do or die, has to score a touchdown to keep going. So here we are. It's week 6. You got QB1 Josh Allen. He's coming off a destruction of the Steelers, threw for 424 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception last week. He's clearly far and away the QB1. He's thrown for he's getting 30.1 fantasy points per game. Now, last week, the thing about this game, you had the Bills had a pass to rush ratio of 35-15, 35 passes, 15 rushing attempts, which might not look good for Devin Singletary. He had a rushing line of 6 carries for 42 yards. He was the leading number of carries for the Bills. And but the one thing about it, the Chiefs just got beaten up for 154 yards by Josh Jacobs. So do the Bills try and run more? I think they're going to try and run a little bit more. They're probably going to try and get Devin Singletary about 10 to 12 rushing attempts. But this game is going to be won through the air for both teams. I've got Adentro for all wide receivers, all active wide receivers. You got starting with Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. They just looked fantastic last week. Davis was 3 catches, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. You had Khalil Shakir. Keep an eye on him. He got 3 passes for 75 yards and a touchdown. So he looked good, but you got to keep an eye on the practice reports on Isaiah McKenzie and Dawson Knox before you start him. So you got to look at that one. So let's see. We got to and then on the other side, you got the Chiefs, where Mahomes, he's the QB4. Been brilliant last week. 29 completions on 43 attempts, 297 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. With the Raiders ahead 14-0, it just looked like, okay, I'm just getting started. It just reminded me of that game with the against the Houston Texans, where the Texans got up 24-0, and then I think the final score was like 51-24 for the Chiefs. You're not going to stop Travis Kelce in this game. I mean, the Bills have not faced a good tight end yet. The one thing about it, I'm putting CEH, Clyde Edwards-Alaire, on the Afuera section of this, because he's only had 10 plus rushing attempts once this season. And the Bills have yet to allow more than 47 rushing yards in a game. So they've been a really good rushing defense. And so I'm looking for him to have kind of take a step backward. Kelce, the big one. Now, the thing about the wide receivers, just don't know, because you got Juju Smith-Schuster. He got 7 targets in 3 of his last 4 games, but really he's only had 1 game where he had 89 yards. I'm looking at George Pickens and Jalen Waddle. They had good games against the Bills, but Juju is just not that kind of wide receiver. And everybody else, Sky Moore, definitely put him, keep him on your bench. Mecole Hardman, if you want to take a chance that he catches a deep ball, that's one of the ones. Same thing with Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I mean, you want the volume because Patrick Mahomes is going to be passing in this game because of the fact that the Bills are so good on the rush against the rushing attack. But it's a tough one. It's going to be a tough one for them. So let's see if there's we got Mr. Scampers. Yes, I do say that Chiefs Rams game on Monday Night Football that was supposed to be in Mexico and ended up being in the Coliseum. That also that's probably that's the greatest regular season game I've ever seen. 54-51. I mean, gosh. I mean, that game was so crazy that the Rams gave up 51 points, but because they ran back a couple of ran back a couple of interceptions for touchdowns, that they ended up scoring like 25 fantasy points as a defense. So just incredible. Smoke Show, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás, baby? Thank you for jumping in. Much love, brother. Much love up in the Great White North. So let's get into a little Adentro Afuera. So before we get into that, let's keep in mind that we have bye weeks for the first time. We got the Raiders, we got the Lions, we got the Texans, and the Titans. So that's some players. Obviously, we already talked about the Raiders. Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams are going to be sitting. Got the Lions, so many good players, but a couple of them dinged up. DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Those two are going to be sitting down. Hopefully, they're getting themselves healed up. The Texans, Dameon Pierce, one of the leaders for Rookie of the Year. You got him and Derrick Henry are sitting them down. But you're looking on the Adentro side. The guys that I think are gonna smash this week are really go above their projections. One of them, Kyler Murray. Now, if you drafted Kyler Murray, like I drafted him a lot, he's probably the quarterback I drafted more than anybody else this season. I look at Kyler Murray. I mean, he's the QB5, averaging 20.4 fantasy points per game, but he's just kind of left you something that, kind of feel like there's something missing. Like he's not getting there. That's going to change this week. This is a defense with Seattle. This game is going to be in Arizona. I'm sorry, no, this is going to be at Seattle, which I also pointed out. This is the last time that the Cardinals are going to either play outside of a dome and not in California until week 15. So a lot of good weather that Kyler Murray is going to be playing in, or just controlled environments. So keep an eye on him. But this is Seahawks defense that just got torched by the Saints last week, and 2 weeks ago in week 4 against the Lions. Jared Goff just shredded them for 378 yards and 4 touchdowns. So I mean, Kyler Murray needs a breakout game. It's kind of like the last game before DeAndre Hopkins is back. I'm looking at him. I think it's a smash spot. 2 running backs that I think are going to be that are, sorry about that. I don't know what just happened there. I'm so sorry. Hope that's okay. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Wow, that was strange days indeed. So I'm looking at Ramondre Stevenson, Familia. It's just, you look at him, he is just, everything is set up for him. Everything is set up for him to have just a phenomenal game. He's coming off a game where, with taking over the carries after Damian Harris went out. Thank you, Smokey. Thank you, Smokey. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. So 25 carries, 161 yards, also added 2 receptions, 14 yards. I don't know if you heard the quote from Bill Belichick, but he basically, to sum it up, he pointed out that Ramondre Stevenson has improved so much. He's improved on pass protection. He's improved in the pass, in his receiving game. He's a great open field runner. He's a punishing runner, breaks tackles. Basically, he's doing everything right. And this is coming from Bill Belichick. Bill freaking Belichick. So there's no Damian Harris this week. And the Browns just gave up 173 yards to Austin Eckler, over 200 yards total to the team, and then gave up 199 rushing yards to Atlanta in week 4. The Browns can be beaten. They're coming back to health. Myles Garrett is a little bit more healthy. Jadeveon Clowney, we're still not sure if he's going to be back and healthy, but the Browns are going to be beaten up in the running game. Another one that I'm calling for is Aaron Jones. He is going up against the Jets. It's going to be in Lambeau Field. His last 4 games, these are his rushing attempts: 15, 12, 16, and 13. He's also gotten 3, 4, 4, and 3 targets over that time. This is a Jets defense that just gave up 113 yards to Raheem Mostert the previous week. Najee Harris and his injured foot, 74 yards. Nick Chubb 113-3. That's in the last 3 games on the ground. He's a DraftKings pick at 7,600. I love that. I love that pick. The other one that I love, and Familia, you guys know he was my guy. He was the guy I was riding on the season. Jamar Chase. So he's only the wide receiver 13 right now, and he really hasn't had that breakout game just yet. But think about what's going to be going on. It's the LSU kid going back home. There's that narrative. T. Higgins, he's either going to be out or limited during this game. So I'm looking at Chase to just be a target monster in this one. He's got 9+ targets in 4 of 5 games. 3 of those games have been 10+ targets, but they haven't been taking any deep shots with him. And Seattle took some deep shots and beat the Saints, in last week, to the point where DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett went for 10 carries, 10 receptions, 192 yards, and 3 touchdowns combined between the two of them. So you look at that one, Jamar Chase. This is going to be a smash week. I think he's going well over 100 yards and at least 1 touchdown. This is going to be a big game for him. He's like long overdue. So those of you like me who have a lot of Jamar Chase, get it, make sure you just sit back and you enjoy what he's going to do this week. Another player who's going to be doing, who is likely to be doing very well this week, Chris Godwin. So another week away from that ACL surgery. I think Edwin Porras pointed out that he's about 9 weeks. He actually just recommended put him on his list of players that he recommends to trade for. Last week, Godwin ran 27 targets, caught all 6 of it. 27 routes, caught all 6 of his targets, and the Steelers have just been beaten up by slot wide receivers. I mean, it's kind of a tradition with a tradition like no other, but it's something that's happened very much with Mike Tomlin coach teams. Last week, Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, going in and out of the slot, but they totaled 11 receptions, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns. Corey Davis, a traditional slot wide receiver, 74 yards. Amari Cooper, who does quite a bit of work out of the slot, 100 yards. All of these against Pittsburgh lately. So make sure Chris Godwin is in your lineup. He's going to be running more and more routes that's coming up. So another one that now we're going to go to the Afuera section. So players that I'm out on for this week. So I'm looking at you, Zach Wilson, going to Green Bay. Everything looked great in that 40-17 victory over Miami. Just a great team victory. Breece Hall, it may have been his coming out party. Notice he's not on this section. He is very much on Adentro this week. He's such an obvious pick. I didn't even put him in there. But last week, Zach Wilson went for 210 yards. He had a couple of wild throws against Miami. He's still got those great weapons with Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore, and Corey Davis is very good. But this is a Green Bay defense it's in Green Bay. And the Packers have done very well against young quarterbacks. Justin Fields, Bailey Zappi, Daniel Jones. They've really kind of bottled them up. I think what's going to happen, it's going to happen again here in this one. Looking at the next one on the running back side, well, Clyde Edwards-Alaire, I talked about him already. He is just, I'm not recommending him. Again, as I talked about earlier, he had 19 carries 2 weeks ago in week 4. But then in no other game has he had double-digit carries. He's like 8 or 9 most of the time. So that game, I'm predicting it's just going to be a slugfest. It's going to be passing, and both teams are just going to it's going to be a heavyweight title fight, but it's not going to be very much on the ground. I mean, I think the Bills will try to run, but I don't think they're going to be able to if the Chiefs get out to any kind of a hot start, it's gonna be tough for them to run. So Clyde Edwards-Alaire, I'm not liking him for this week. Miles Sanders is another one that it's been inconsistent. That game a couple weeks ago where he went for 142 rushing yards, it looked great, and then he came back to earth a little bit with 40 rushing yards. Just not the best production. Kind of inconsistent. You're looking at this game. I don't know if I think the major rushing that's going to be happening is going to be from Jalen Hurts in this game. When I look at Dallas on this one, yes, they're going to have a good pass rush, but the fact remains that's the best offensive line. So this is going to be a great game to watch the trenches. Maddie Kroll, amiga of the show, this is going to be like grab a popcorn and she's just going to be watching this one because it's going to be a fun game. But when it comes down to it, the Cowboys have really firmed up their running defense since the first week. Leonard Fournette ran for 127 yards in week 1, but then they haven't given up anybody yet. Going over 100 yards. Saquon Barkley went over 100 total yards, went 126 total yards, including the receiving game. But that's Saquon Barkley. I don't think Miles Sanders is in that is in the same class with his former teammate at Penn State. So I'm looking at that one as I'm not expecting much from Miles Sanders. Last player that I'm out on his one of my preseason favorites, Romeo Dobbs. I know I'm not calling him Doobs anymore. Romeo Dobbs. It's been really good. Surprisingly good with him. I like the targets. I think he's definitely one of the better players. But the targets have been inconsistent. He had eight targets in weeks 3 and 4. He only had 5 last week. And that was with the Packers kind of going away from the rushing game, going towards the passing game a little bit. I think the Sauce Gardner has shown to be a very good cover corner. May not travel with Dobbs. I think he's going to be trying to neutralize Dobbs. But yeah, the Jets have become a much better team against the pass. So I think Dobbs might get a little bit, but I don't see him coming close to 100 yards or anything like that. So Familia, that's it. I really wish I could have had Primo Nico on here and we could have done this a little bit more interplay, but I didn't want you guys to be listening to any kind of feedback or anything. So plus I also wanted to get you guys out of here before in time to watch the Dodger game. So if there's any questions or anything like that, you guys got any questions you want to throw in the chat, feel free. While I'm doing that, I'm going to kind of close up shop a little bit. Make sure you're going to fantasypoints.com and you're using that promo code 22familia10. If I, in Spanish again, 22 familia 10, get you 10% off the 10% off the already reduced price of 25% off. So it's like you're getting 35% off on this whole thing. So definitely want to make sure you're using that promo code very much. To get you, I mean, just access to everything. I use so much of that content to make myself a better analyst for you and make sure you get your, help you win your leagues. And well, if we got no other questions, I'm going to say, eso es todo for our show. Please, again, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. Por favor, I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you go to get your audio, wherever you get your audio podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, please make sure to give us a subscribe. And if you guys, and these will appear in your feed automatically, and you can get those if you're not able to watch them on YouTube. Obviously, that when they're on YouTube, we archive them and they're on there. So you got plenty of different ways to catch the Familia FFB podcast. Also, make sure you're going to familiafbb.com to get our original content. I'm going to have a couple of articles coming out on the early and later games for this weekend slate. And also, I'm gonna try and put out a DFS Fiesta show on Friday, planning to do that. I'll be able to get together probably about a dozen players that I recommend to play in this weekend, players that are going to be good plays, whether you're on GPP or big tournaments or anything like that. So, and also make sure you're following me at Jorge Martin 17. I pass everything through my Twitter account. Make sure you're going there, and also otherwise everywhere else, Familia FFB on Facebook and Instagram. Otra vez, I really appreciate it. I'm gonna call my primo Nico, make sure he's okay, everything's okay. But we'll be able to get him on because I tell you, he's very funny. And yes, Mr. Scampers, thank you two for joining in. Go Dodgers and go Ducks. Definitely Dame Overboard. Love you, love with the blue heart. So remember, everybody, todos somos familia. Salud.